Hi guys, I'm Melissa and today we're going to be learning about mixed number arithmetics. And so we're going to learn about mixed number arithmetic, and I'm going to introduce this concept to you by just solving an example problem. I think by solving an example problem we can kind of get the general gist or idea of how to solve these types of problems. And so the problem says compute 10 and 8 over 9 plus 5 over 9. And so what we did previously to combine mixed numbers was we added the whole number, and so there's no whole number for 5 over 9, so it's just 10, and then we add the fraction separately. And so that's going to be 13 over 9, which is 9 over 9 plus 4 over 9. And so that would have been 10 plus, that would be 1 plus 4 over 9. That would have been 10 plus 1 plus 4 over 9, which is 11 and 4/9. But then so that's what we did previously for mixed number additions. Or to add 5/9 to 10 and 8/9, we could start by adding 1/9 to 10 8/9 to get a whole number, and then since we took 1/9 out, we would have 4/9 remaining, and so we could do 11 and 4/9. And so there's multiple ways to approach these types of questions, and it definitely depends on what you think is what you prefer. If we have the same denominator and we want to add, then we keep the denominator because it's the same, so it's a common denominator. We don't need to look for a common denominator because it's already the same, and so we're just going to add the numerators together with one common denominator. Also the same for when we subtract. If there's a common denominator, we keep that denominator and only work with the numerators. Now this is when it's just a regular fraction, like written in the form a over b, whether it's improper or proper. But then when we have mixed numbers, like a whole number and then a fraction, how do we add or how do we subtract? And so there's an easy and basic way of adding and subtracting mixed numbers, and in the lesson we're going to learn about more ways to subtract and add, but what I think is the easiest way is you separate the whole numbers and fractions. So for example, if one mixed number is 2 and 3 over 4, and we want to add it to 6 and 1 over 4. What I mean is you want to separate the whole numbers. So we're going to consider 2 and 6 separately as to 1/4 and 3/4. And so 6 and 2 are whole numbers, so we're going to add those together. So we have 8 for whole numbers. Then for fractions, we have 3/4 and 1/4, and when we add them together, it's going to be 1. And then we add the sum of the whole number and add the sum of the fractions, and so we get our final sum. Now another example is when the fractions don't really come out to be a whole number. So it can be like 9 and 7 over 15 plus 2 and 2 over 15. Now again, we're going to think of the whole number separately. So 9 plus 2 is 11, and when we think about the fractions, it's 7 over 15 plus 2 over 15, which is 9 over 15. We can simplify this by dividing both the numerator and the denominator by 3. So we can simplify it into 3 over 5. And so we're going to combine 11 and 3 over 5. And we can write that out as 11 and 3 over 5. Now just for clarification, we can write this as an improper fraction as well, based on what we learned last class. So keep the denominator, multiply the whole number in denominator, which is 55, and then add the original numerator. And so the way to write that as an improper fraction is 58 over 5. And now let's look at some more problems that involve addition and subtraction of mixed numbers and fractions. And so for problem 143, we have 2 and 16 over 17 plus 9 over 17. So the first way is just doing it similar to how we did last time for mixed number addition. So we're going to add the whole numbers together. So it's 2 plus 0, which is 2. Then we're going to add the fractions together. And that is going to be 25 over 17, which is going to be 17 over 17 plus 8 over 17. And so that is going to be 1 plus 8 over 17. And so that would have been 3 and 8 over 17. Now instead of doing this, though, we have another way of doing it, and that is first filling in the 16 over 17. And so to make 2 and 16 over 17 3, we only need to add 1 over 17. So we're going to do 3 plus 8 over 17 since we brought 1 over 17 to complete this into a 3. And so we can straight up say that that's 3 and 8 over 17. And we're going to do the same thing for 144. And so one way we can do it is we can just add the whole numbers together and then add the fractions separately. So it's going to be 18 over 13, which is 13 over 13 plus 5 over 13. So it's going to be 1 plus 5 over 13. And so in total, that's going to be 4 plus 1 plus 5 over 13, which is 5 and 5 over 13. But then instead of doing that, we can first complete this 4 and 12 over 13 to a 5. So once we complete that to a 5, this, since we used 1 over 13, is going to be 5 over 13. And so we can write this as 5 and 5 over 13. So for problem 145, I want you guys to try doing both methods and see which one works best for you. And so we're gonna now solve this problem. So again, our first method is adding the whole numbers together. So that's gonna be 17, and then we're gonna add the fractions together. It's gonna be 29 over 23. So that is gonna be 23 over 23 plus 6 over 23, which is 1 plus 6 over 23. And so that's going to be 18 and 6 over 23. Now another way to do this is we're first going to fill in this 22 over 20. We're going to fill in this 9 and 22 over 23 by adding a 1 over 23. So that's going to be a completed 10. Then this is going to be 8 and 6 over 23. So that's going to be 18 and 6 over 23. So basically we get the same result, but it just basically depends on which method you find more preferable. And then for problem 146, again, we can do whole number plus whole number first, then add the fraction first, then add the fraction next after we add the whole number. And so that would be 29 over 19, which is 19 over 19 plus 10 over 19. So that would be 1 plus 10 over 19. So combining that with the 10, that would be 11 and 10 over 19. But another way of doing that is we can first complete this 7 and 17 over 19 to an 8. And to do that, we need to bring 2 over 19 from the other side. And so that's going to be 3 and 10 over 19. So that's going to give us 11 and 10 over 19. Now we're going to do the same thing for other questions as well. So for problem 147, we can start by doing whole number addition first. So 5 plus 2 is 7. Then do fractions together. So that's going to be 18 over 12. So 12 over 12 plus 6 over 12 is going to be 1 plus 1/2. So that's going to be 8 and 1/2. Now, but another way that we can do this is we can first complete this shell into a 3 by bringing 1 over 12 from the other side. So that's going to be 5 and 6 over 12 plus 3, which is going to be 8 and 6 over 12. So that would be 8 and 1/2. Finally, for problem 148, we can of course do whole number plus whole number, so 9 plus 3 equals 12, and then add the fractions together. So that's 39 over 21, so 21 over 21 plus 18 over 21, which is 1 plus 18 over 21. So combined with the 12 that we found with the whole numbers, the answer would be 13 and 18 over 21. So simplified, it would be 13 and 9 over 7. Well, 13 and 6 over 7, sorry. But then we can also do the method where we fill this in first. Technically, we can fill any one of these first, but since 20 is greater than 19, we're going to fill in this first. So to fill that into a 4, we need to bring a 1 over 21 from the other side. So it's going to be 8 and 18 over 21 plus 4. So it's going to be 12 and 18 over 21. Oh, so it's 9, not 8, sorry for the confusion. So it's going to be 9 and 18 over 21 plus 4. So that would be 13 and 18 over 21. So it would be 13 simplified 6 over 7. Now we're going to move on to the next page. And so It says compute 4 and 1 over 9 minus 2 and 8 over 9. So now this is subtraction. So now this is subtraction, and so it says we count up from 2 and 8 over 9 to 4 and 1 over 9. And so from 2 and 8 over 9 to 3 is 1 over 9. And then from 3 to 4 and 1 over 9 is going to be 1 and 1 over 9 more. So the difference is going to be 1 and 1/9 plus 1/9, which would be 1 and 2/9. And so we basically split it into 2, where the benchmark was 3. And so we can add, and another way that we can do this is we can add any number to both numbers in a subtraction problem without changing their difference. So this would be equal to, that would be equal to adding 1 over 9 to both numbers. And so that would be 4 and 2/9 minus 3, which would be 1 and 2/9. And so we're going to practice. So for problem 149, we can count up from 2 and 14 over 15 to 4 and 7 over 15. And so to do that, from 2 and 14 over 15 to 3, we need to add 1 over 15. And then from 3 to 4 and 7 over 15, we need to add 1 and 7 over 15. And so combined, that would be 1 and 8 over 15. Now another way to do this is, we know that 2 and 14 over 15 is 1 over 15 less than 3. So if we add 1 over 15 to both sides, then that would be 5. So that would be 4 and 8 over 15 minus 3. So that would be 1 and 8 over 15. Both gives us the same answer, it just depends on which method you prefer. And then for question 150, we can count up from the smaller number. So we know that to get to 6, we need to add 1 over 11 to get to 6. And then to get from 6 to 9 and 2 over 11, we need to add 3 and 2 over 11. So 3 and 2 over 11 plus 1 over 11 is going to be 3 and 3 over 11. Now another way that we can do this is, now to get to 6, 5 and 10 over 11 is 1 over 11 less than 6. So we're going to add 1 over 11 to both sides. And that is going to be 9 and 3 over 11 minus 6. So that's going to give us 3 and 3 over 11. Now for problem 151, I want you guys to try solving this yourselves. So I'll give you guys about 2 minutes before we go over the solution. And so for problem 151, we can go from the smaller number to the larger number. And so to get to 4, we need to add 1 over 7 to get to 4. And then from 4 to 6 and 4 over 7, we need to add 2 and 4 over 7. So in total, we needed to add 2 and 4 over 7 and 1 over 7. So the difference is going to be 2 and 5 over 7. Now another way to think of this is to get 3 and 6 over 7 is 1 over 7 less than 4. And so we're going to add 1 over 7 to both sides. And so it's going to be 6 and 5 over 7 minus 4, which is going to be 2 and 5 over 7. So we get the same answer. Now for problem 152, we're going to try both methods once again. So to get to 4, we need to add 2 over 17 to 3 and 15 over 17. Then from 4, we need to add 12 over 17 to get to 4 and 12 over 17. So we're going to do 12 over 17 plus 2 over 17, which is 14 over 17. Now another way to think of this is 3 and 15 over 17 is 2 over 17 less than 4. And so we're going to add it to both sides. And so it's going to be 4 and 14 over 17 minus 4, which is going to be 14 over 17. Again, same answer. For problem 153, to get to 2, we need to add 1 over 8 to 1 and 7 over 8. And then to get to 5 and 3 over 8 from 2, we need to add 3 and 3 over 8. So that's going to be 3 and 4 over 8, so it's going to be 3 and 1/2. Another way to think of this is 1 and 7 over 8 is 1/8 less than 2. So we're going to add 1/8 to both sides. And so that's going to give us 5 and 4 over 8 minus 2, which is going to give us 3 and 4 over 8, or 3 and 1/2 simplified. Now for problem 154, to get to 3, we need to add 3 over 13 to 2 and 10 over 13 to get to 3. And then to get from 3 to 12 and 8 over 13, we need to add 9 and 8 over 13. So when we add those two, that's going to be 9 and 11 over 13. Now another way to think of this is 2 and 10 over 13 is 3 over 13 less than 3. So we're going to add that to both sides. And so it's going to be 12 and 11 over 13 minus 3, which is going to be 9 and 11 over 13. So now we just have a bunch of more practice problems. So we're going to solve them using our preferred method. So for this method, I am going to do whole number plus fraction. So I'm going to do 5 plus 16 equals 21. 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 2/3. So the sum is going to be 21 and 2/3. For the next question, I'm going to do so to get to 3 from 2 and 7 over 10, we need to add 3 over 10, and so we're going to add it to both sides. And so that is eventually going to bring 7 and 6 over 10 minus 3, and so that would give us 4 and 6 over 10. Now just to check, another way that we can do this is to get to 3 we need to add 3 over 10, and then from 3 to get to 7 and 3 over 10 from 3, we need to add 4 and 3 over 10, so that's going to be 4 and 6 over 10. And simplified, that is going to look like 4 and 3 over 5. Now for problem 157, I'm going to do the method where we bring 1 over 8 to complete. So that's going to be 15 plus, now since we gave away 1 over 8, it's going to be 15 plus 67 and 2 over 8. And so that's going to be, when we add the whole number together, that's going to be 82 and 2 over 8, so that's going to be 82 and 1/4. That's going to be 82 and 1/4. And then we're going to look at the next problem. So since the denominator is the same, we're only going to deal with the numerator. So it's 271 minus 201, which is going to be 70. So that would be 7 over 30. Then for this, denominator is the same, numerator is 50, numerator is going to be 64. And so when we simplify, it's going to be 32 over 25. And that is going to be 25 over 25 plus 8 over 25. Oh, sorry, 7, not 8. And so that's going to be 1 plus 7 over 25. So our answer would be 1 and 7 over 25. For problem 160, I'm going to use the method where we want to fill this first by bringing 2 over 11. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 32 and 5 over 11 plus 85. And that is going to bring 117 and 5 over 11. And then for this problem, we can figure that 5 and 13 over 18 is 5 over 18 less than 6. So we're going to add it to both sides. And so it's going to be 17 and 6 over 18 minus 5 and 18. Right, so we add, and then so we're going to add those together, and then so that's going to give us, when we add 5 over 18, that's going to give us 17 and 6 over 18 minus 6. And so that is going to give us 11 and 6 over 18. And 6 over 18 can be simplified into 1 over 3. So it's going to be 11 and 1 over 3. For 162, It's already a whole number, so we're going to do whole number minus whole number, which is going to be 41. So the answer here is going to be the answer here is going to be 40 and 1 over 19. So another way that you can think of this is to get to 34, we need to add 1 over 19 to get to 34. And then 74 minus 34 is going to be 40, so we have 40 and 1/9. For problem 163, we have these two numbers. And so the method that I'm going to use is the whole number, fraction method. So 526 minus 213 is going to give 313. 7 over 8 minus 3 over 8 is going to give us 4 over 8, or 1/2. So the answer is going to be 313 and 1/2. For 164, we're also going to do the same thing. So add the fraction together, and that is going to bring 503. And then add the fraction together after adding the whole number together. So that would be 503 and 5/9. Now if we look at 165, we're first going to add these two. So it's going to be 24 and 6 over 9 and subtract. And so that is going to be 19 and 4 over 9. For 166, we're going to add these two first. That's going to be 30 and 2/3. Subtract, so that's going to be 20. And then when we subtract this, it's going to be, since 5 and 2 over 3 is 1/3 less than 6, we're going to add 1/3 to both sides. So it's going to be 20 and 1/3 minus 6, which is going to be 14 and 1/3. Now we're on our last page. So it says, Anna has some juice in her mug. After she pours 3 3/4 more ounces of juice into her mug, she has a total of 10 and 1/4 ounces. So we're looking for the difference. And so 3 3/4 is 1/4 less than 4. So we're going to add 1/4 to both sides. So it's going to be 10 and 2/4 minus 4, which is going to be 6 and 1/2 ounce. And then Fiona's hair is 31 and 2/3 inches longer than Grog's, and Nellie's hair is 18 and 1/3 inches longer than Grog's. Nellie's hair is 23 inches long. How many inches long is Fiona's hair? And so we're first going to find the lengths of Grog's hair. And so Nellie's is 23 inches long, which is 18 and 1/3 inches longer than Grog's hair. So Grog's hair is going to be 23 minus 18 and 1/3. And so that is going to be 4 and 2/3 long for Grog. So Grog's hair is 4 and 2/3 inches long. Fiona's hair is 31 and 2/3 inches longer than Grog's. So we're going to add now. So add 4 and 2 over 3 to 31 and 2 over 3. So it's going to be 35 and 4 over 3, which is 36 and 1 over 3. So her hair is going to be 36 and 1 over 3 inches long. Next problem says Luke is 5 1/4 inches taller than Jess. The sum of Luke's and Jess's heights is 82 1/4 inches. How many inches tall is Jess? So for 160 now we're going to draw a diagram. So when we split it in half, we have Luke and we have Jess. And the entire thing is 82 1/4 inches when combined. Then Luke is 5 1/4 inches taller than Jess, so we can replace Luke with Jess plus 5 1/4 inches. So instead of having Luke, it's going to be Jess plus 5 1/4 inches. So now twice Jess's height is going to be, his original height was so Luke is 5 1/4 inches taller than Jess. And so we say that the sum of their heights is going to be Jess plus 5 1/4, which is equal to 81 1/4. And then, so yeah. And I think these two problems are going to be a bit too much challenge for you guys. So I'm going to leave it out for next class and then we'll just stop here. And so that was the end of our video today, and I hope I see you guys in the next video. Thank you.